When she dreamed of marrying the Sheikh, he laughed. Years later, he discovers her amazing transformation. Brianna stood behind the counter of the diner, the scent of fried onions and fresh coffee clinging to her skin like an old promise she couldn't seem to shake off. Only 30, yet she felt weighed down by the dreams to escape this quaint Midwestern town, a world that pulsed with possibility, aside from grease-stained walls. "One day I'll marry a Sheikh and travel the world," she had whispered to Ryan years ago, her heart racing with the thrill of aspirations. His laughter still echoed in her ears, reminding her of the bitter taste of ridicule. The years melted painfully into one another. The mundane routine of serving burgers to people who didn't see her as anything more than a waitress gnawed at her spirit. But she fought against that image fiercely. She pushed herself, determined to earn that scholarship which allowed her to emerge from the diner's shadows. It was within the hallowed halls of the university that she discovered her ability to engage in conversations that transcended barriers. She learned to dream bigger, and when she returned home, she was armed with a plan, an ambitious proposal for a cultural exchange program that could transform her town's outlook. As she sat with her presentation, her mind began to race with self-doubt. What if they cherished the old ways too much? What if Ryan, now entangled in his father's prestigious law firm, mocked her ambition all over again? Did the laughter of old still linger behind his well-tailored suit? The notion left a nagging ache in her chest, one she breathed out in shaky sighs as she flipped through charts and statistics like a lifeline. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The night of the town hall meeting filled her with a mix of adrenaline and dread. The squeak of her shoes warned her that her old persona was lurking behind her, waiting for the moment she'd falter on stage. As residents filled the seats, heaving their expectations and whispers, Brianna's heart stuttered. The enthusiasm pouring out of her voice trembled beneath the weight of their skepticism. The glint in their eyes hinted they were ready to pounce on any misstep. Ryan sat in a corner, his jaw tensed and mind torn. Why couldn't he just be happy for her? The memory of their shared laughter haunted him, taunting the doubts creeping into his heart as he watched this woman who had so fiercely pursued her dreams. They had seemed so distant once, but now they felt alarmingly close as Brianna stood at the end of her plans, dangling in delicate balance between acceptance and rejection. A question from the mayor shattered her moment of connection. Brianna clenched her fists, eyes darting across the crowd, seeking empathy but finding only wariness. The crowd murmured in disbelief, casting doubts on her intentions and capability. The sudden shift in energy tightened the space around her, and she felt the air thicken as her mind spun out of control. What if they believed he was right? Suddenly, all of her preparation felt insufficient, like a paper-thin shield against the storm of judgment closing in. The room felt too small, despair crawling up her throat as Ryan wrestled with his conscience, witnessing the fracture of dreams that once brought him joy. It was clear. They were both at pivotal crossroads, faced with the looming specter of what had once been a shared innocence. Would he stand up for her, or would he let the expectations of his world swallow them whole? As the meeting spiraled, tension electrified the air, leaving only questions of loyalty and ambition fluttering around them, untouched yet so palpable. Brianna stumbled over her words, her throat tightening as the mayor's dismissive question echoed in the dimly lit hall. Each face turned toward her felt like a weight, pressing down on her, squeezing her words back into the cavern of self-doubt. The walls, the trophies of success she dared to imagine, now felt like a prison. But then amid the murmurs, a flicker of defiance ignited inside her. Perhaps their skepticism wasn't just a barrier. Maybe it was a call to stand firm, to assert her vision. Brianna allowed herself a moment of clarity as she recalled the tenacity that had fueled her journey through the university. She had faced countless critiques and formidable adversities there. Hadn't she earned her place? With a deep breath, she straightened her shoulders, tapping into the resolve that had transformed her life. "What if I told you," she began, her voice steadier now, "that this program isn't just about culture. It's about connection and growth. It's about transforming our perceptions and expanding what we believe is possible." That connection wasn't just a dream she harbored. It was her lifeline. Brianna understood with sudden clarity that until she presented her vision with that same fervor, her aspirations would remain unrecognized. The townspeople were not merely antagonists. They were mirrors reflecting her own fears back at her. And now she needed to turn the lens and reshape the narrative of their expectations. As she delved deeper into her proposal, the confidence she mustered lit an ember of intrigue in the crowd. Their gaze shifted, more curious now, rather than skeptical. A sense of belonging began to wash over her, like the gentle sway of a summer breeze, coaxing her to believe her voice mattered. Ryan shifted uncomfortably in his seat, grappling with the conviction that bubbled within him for Brianna. Seeing her rekindle that spark he thought extinguished, ignited a complex turmoil in his heart. Was he supportive? Or was he caging her aspirations beneath the heaviness of his own doubts? For every enchanting word she uttered, Ryan felt the pull toward her, the dreamer with a penchant for the impossible. With the presentation unfolding, time slipped by unceremoniously. The people leaned in, fascinated, no longer indulging in the whispered doubts. She pointed to examples of successful cultural initiatives from other towns, statistics illustrating tangible results. The applause began softly, delicate and tentative, but slowly it burgeoned until it roared through the hall like a sudden storm. Her heart soared, fueled by their tentative acceptance, a gust of adrenaline propelling her forward. Yet beneath the waves of applause was an unsettling feeling that lingered. Ryan's eyes, once filled with laughter, now scrutinized her with a grappling mix of admiration and fear. Suddenly, a reality hit her like a jolt of icy water. This moment could reshape their relationship as well. As exhilarated cheers filled the hall, her gaze locked with his, and in that electric impulse, 100 questions unspooled. In the aftermath, while claps echoed and faces brimming with hope surrounded her, Brianna felt a strange emptiness knotting in her stomach. What happened next depended not only on the success of her proposal, but also on what Ryan would do with the power of choice resting in his hands. Would he stand by her, or would he retreat into the shadows of the past? The air gripped with expectation. Brianna held her breath, her heart pounding with a mixture of delight and dread, knowing that the next word spoken could either bind them or break them apart forever. The moment of truth was approaching, and her optimism teetered on the edge of a pivotal decision. Would his loyalty triumph over his fears? The applause still reverberated in Brianna's ears, but the joy that filled the room began to dissipate, replaced by a gnawing uncertainty that seeped into every crevice of her mind. She turned away from the crowd, searching for Ryan, but found only the remnants of her momentary triumph echoing in the shadows. His gaze, heavy and contemplative, weighed upon her. In that moment, it felt like a chasm had formed between them, one well-worn by years of their history, but now deepened by the stark reality of her emerging ambitions. She had stepped into a new role that threatened to outgrow the familiar boundaries of their relationship, and she could feel the tension pulsating around them. Brianna's heart raced as she approached him. The butterflies that had flitted joyously during her speech now transformed into a swarm of anxious thoughts. What if he didn't understand? What if the success she had achieved only made him feel smaller in comparison? The strikingly different paths they seemed to be on loomed over her, silent yet unbearable. "Brianna," Ryan finally began, breaking the silence that enveloped them. His voice was shaky, a stark contrast to the confidence she had just exhibited. I didn't know you had it in you to make them question everything like that." His words could have been a compliment, a validation of her effort, but Brianna sensed the undertone of fear lurking beneath. It triggered something within her, an impatience that had been stirred since her harrowing performance. She was not merely seeking acceptance. A new identity cracked open within her. A fierce, unapologetic woman who refused to be tethered by someone else's doubts. "Ryan, this isn't just about them," she replied, frustration rising in her tone. "I'm not asking for understanding. I'm demanding to be seen for who I am becoming." The weight of her realization pressed on her chest, forcing her to hold his gaze. "Can't you see? This is my moment." His response was a bitter silence that lasted unnaturally long, and she felt a rush of clarity mixed with anger. How had their roles morphed so drastically? Here she was, unveiling her aspirations publicly, while he hesitated, paralyzed by the fear of change. "Do you even want to be part of this?" she questioned, challenging him to confront his own feelings rather than hide behind those familiar walls of insecurity. "Or are you going to remain stuck in the past while I reach for what comes next?" A flicker of recognition passed through Ryan's eyes, but it was quickly replaced by vulnerability that cut her deeply. The tension spiraled, and she realized they stood on different precipices of growth. To embrace her future, she would need to let go of the past they shared. A past that seemed to provide comfort but no longer served her burgeoning identity. Brianna's breath caught as she continued, "I can't hold your fears in my hands anymore. I have my own journey to navigate." As the sincerity of her words hung between them, she felt the echo of a potential answer within her, a space of uncharted possibility. But it could not escape the gravity of their current reality. In that moment, she understood the choice was not simply his, nor would it take shape in the exchange of words. It was a transformation that would demand action from both of them. As Brianna stepped back, the raw tension lingering in the air, her heart began to race with the thought of what lay ahead, both for her and for him. What she didn't know was whether that choice would push them further apart or draw them together. As she prepared to step into her future, she couldn't shake the feeling that the hardest challenge was yet to come. What would she uncover within herself as she delved deeper into her aspirations and confronted the shadows that danced alongside her ambitions? Brianna pulled away, the distance becoming necessary for her clarity. She needed to process the whirlwind of emotions swirling within her. Each step she took felt as though she was wading through thickening mud. Her past life with Ryan, once comforting, now felt restrictive. Every laugh they shared was now a memory colored with uncertainty. Every moment they spent together filled with expectations that no longer resonated. As she made her way to the exit, the mood shifted from fervor to quietude. The clinking of glasses and murmurs reduced to a faint backdrop of her thoughts. Outside, the cool evening air was a welcome contrast to the heat of the crowd's energy still pulsing in her veins. This was a raw beginning, yet Brianna found herself clutching onto it desperately. Who could she become if she let herself break free? Sitting on a nearby bench, she unfolded the crumpled flyer from the event. It bore details of a new professional workshop on innovation and leadership, just the type of opportunity she had been brainstorming about while trying to juggle her duality of past and present. The decision to attend was now hers alone, a catalyst for adjusting her trajectory. What made her heart race was the thought of empowerment swirling around her, of a room full of minds eager to challenge norms. There were promises of forging new paths, honing skills that sparked interest in her more than she had realized. This workshop could open doors, introduce her to mentors, and critically offer her a community that spoke the same language of transformation. She quickly jotted down notes on her phone, outlining her ambitions: public speaking, risk management, leadership strategies, areas she had often felt were beyond her reach. Each point electrified her senses, igniting a determination she had long masked. Brianna realized that the woman who stood before Ryan during her speech had only just begun to scratch the surface of her potential. Inside her mind, the gears shifted rapidly. She began to visualize the contours of her aspirations and how they might fit together. The thought of building something meaningful around herself fired her soul. No longer was she waiting for Ryan to validate her aspirations. She was ready to embark on this quest alone. This could become the bedrock of her future success. Yet, tugging at her heart, was the fear of isolation. What if moving forward meant severing the connection with Ryan? She could visualize the steps she would need to take. But the darker corners of her mind whispered doubts about choices that felt daunting. Could commitment to her dreams negate the love they had shared? As she wrestled with these thoughts, Brianna noticed a group nearby engaged in animated discussion. They were laughter and ideas, peers sparking one another's passions. It was a tangible reminder of the vibrant energy she craved. The pivotal moment had arrived when she needed to make a promise to herself. She had to abandon the past while honoring its lessons. The tumult within her was real. It demanded resolution. She observed each passerby with a newfound awareness, wondering which of their stories intertwined with hers, which steps forward would be filled with mutual support, rather than isolation. With a deep breath, she committed to attending the workshop, to explore a world greater than herself. As she stood letting the evening wind bolster her resolve, a realization washed over her. She would create her narrative, her definition of success. Yet in committing to her journey, she understood Ryan would not easily slip into the background. Their connection, however complicated, would resurface to bring challenges she hadn't anticipated. In the weeks to come, the confrontation with Ryan's response after this leap would be inevitable, and she steeled herself for the moment when she would have to explain her choices, to face the reality that the growth she craved might indeed come at a cost. But Brianna felt something within her tightening, an urge to reclaim not just her future, but to define the parameters of her reality. The question loomed larger than ever. Would Ryan's fears shape the edges of her new life, or would she break through them to find freedom? Brianna entered the workshop with a mix of excitement and nerves surging through her. The room buzzed with eager participants, each person embarking on their own journey, similar yet distinctly different. She inhaled deeply, the air thick with shared ambition, determination, and the slight aroma of caffeine. Today, she told herself, was the beginning of a transformation. The workshop facilitator, a seasoned executive with a commanding presence, welcomed everyone. She spoke passionately about embracing discomfort as a precursor to growth. Brianna's thoughts collided with every word. Discomfort had been a constant presence in her life, especially around Ryan. She couldn't shake the feeling that his fears about her ambitions and their impact on their relationship had left an imprint on her. Now it was time to dissect that imprint and forge a new path. As the session progressed, Brianna found herself actively engaging. In small group discussions, she shared her goals and aspirations. The supportive feedback empowered her, igniting a new sense of self-worth that she had only imagined just hours before. Each compliment about her ideas felt like a silent affirmation that there was a place for her in this dynamic world. Halfway through, the facilitator introduced an unexpected element, an impromptu public speaking exercise. Each participant had to present a 3-minute pitch about their personal vision for leadership. Brianna's heart raced as she questioned whether she could showcase her vision without shying away, hiding behind her past. Yet standing at the front of the room, the stares of her peers igniting an unfamiliar fire within her, she realized this was her moment. Gripping the podium tightly, she personalized her pitch with anecdotes about her struggles and ambitions. She spoke of the fear of isolation, of the need for community, and of standing tall in her truth while acknowledging her past. Faint memories of Ryan and his scoffing jibes about her dreams flickered in her mind. But she pushed through, each word louder than the last. In that moment, she discovered an unexpected strength, her ability to connect her journey to those of others in the room. They resonated with her struggles, with the courage it took to step into leadership roles despite their insecurities. The applause that followed felt like the first solid step toward reclaiming her identity. After the workshop, Brianna was approached by several participants who expressed admiration for her candidness. Among them was a woman named Mia, who was a successful entrepreneur. They quickly exchanged contact information, and Mia invited Brianna for coffee the following week, excited to discuss potential collaborations. Brianna felt a sense of connection and anticipation at the prospect of forming professional bonds outside of Ryan's shadow. Despite the empowering experience, unease began to settle in as Brianna reflected on each moment. This newfound exposure meant redefining significant relationships. The thought of how Ryan might react loomed. A direct confrontation was inevitable. Would he encourage her endeavors, or would his fears cloud any pride he felt? In subsequent days, she pondered how to articulate her journey to him. The struggle between loyalty to the past and the pursuit of her aspirations felt like treading a tightrope. As she scheduled her coffee with Mia, her apprehension transformed into a burning curiosity about who she might become, without Ryan's limitations. The stakes were rising. The tugging at her heart intensified as she mentally prepared for their confrontation. What if Ryan couldn't accept the new Brianna? The person ready to carve out her identity and future would stand in stark opposition to the woman who had once molded her dreams around his. The moment approached, fissures of doubt crackling beneath her composed exterior. The question remained: how would she advocate for her future in the face of potential rejection from the very person whose opinion had mattered most? As she bit her lip, contemplating the depth of her transformation and the potential fallout, a single thought emerged. She needed to forge ahead, unapologetically. When their paths crossed again, would there still be space for the future she was crafting? Or would it all come crashing down? The days that followed the workshop felt both exhilarating and oppressive for Brianna. Every moment hummed with a sense of anticipation, but beneath that excitement lay the murky waters of uncertainty. She had taken a big step forward, yet the shadow of her relationship with Ryan loomed larger than ever as she prepared for their inevitable confrontation. As she sipped her morning coffee, the soft sunlight pouring through the window illuminated her path. It should have filled her with warmth, yet it only heightened the tension brewing inside. A part of her relished this newfound independence, the thrill of exploring opportunities that had lingered out of reach for so long. But another part warned her of the impending fallout. She grappled with a growing dissonance, savoring potential collaborators like Mia while battling the prospect of losing Ryan. Meeting Mia for coffee felt like a lifeline. The cafe had an inviting atmosphere, buzzing with creativity and ambition. They settled into a cozy corner, and Brianna marveled at Mia's confidence. The woman effortlessly articulated her vision, each word punctuated by a casual sophistication Brianna envied. Their conversation flowed naturally as they discussed ideas for collaboration, but Brianna felt a prickling urge to tether herself to Mia's energy. In many ways, she'd begun to see Mia as a mentor, a figure capable of encouraging her to rise to her own potential. Moments later, as they exchanged thoughts over their steaming mugs, Brianna felt a spark igniting. It was the realization that she, too, had something valuable to contribute. Sharing her own aspirations, she spoke about her ideas for leadership systems and creating inclusive environments. Each sentence affirmed her place in the conversation, her voice embracing the power that had felt so elusive only days before. Yet the uplifting vibe around her wavered when she felt her phone buzz on the table. Ryan's name flashing across the screen felt like an anchor pulling her back to more turbulent waters. She hesitated to answer, a wave of conflicting feelings crashing over her. How could she indulge her ambition while still harboring the fear of losing the connection she'd built with him? Forcing a breath and reminding herself of the woman she wanted to become, Brianna excused herself and stepped outside, letting the brisk air cool her decision. She hit the green button with a trembling finger. "Hey." Ryan's voice filled her ear, rich with his usual warmth. "I've been thinking a lot about us lately. Can we talk?" The simplicity of those words sent a chill down her spine. Part of her yearned for their connection, while another part recoiled at the notion of returning to those familiar patterns of insecurity and indirectness. She began, then paused, her thoughts racing. She could either retreat back to past behaviors or confront the reality of her transformation. "Sure, we can talk, but I think we need to address some things." With a firmly planted sense of purpose, she returned to Mia, aware that this pivotal conversation required clarity. Each moment spent with her was like a fleeting glimpse of a future she craved, a vision braided with courage and creativity, unlike the relationship that had once defined her. The prospect of discussing her evolution with Ryan brought waves of anxiety, yet the underlying determination to assert her journey pulsed through her. As the conversation with Mia continued, Brianna noticed ideas sparking like fireworks inside her mind, strategies and plans that went beyond the current small talk. She returned to Ryan's call feeling renewed, yet apprehensive about the difficult dialogue ahead. In the deepening silence after hanging up, Brianna realized that this moment wasn't just a conversation but a pivotal crossroads. As she contemplated what words were necessary to advocate for herself, the brewing storms of doubt and hope swirled tumultuously. She was ready to face Ryan to articulate the changes within her friend and partner. But would he be able to hear her truth? The approaching confrontation loomed ahead, crucial and inevitable. Would it be a bridge to their shared future, or would it lead to an irrevocable divide? The afternoon sun slanted through the living room window, casting long shadows that danced across the floor as Brianna paced. The adrenaline that had surged during her coffee with Mia had turned into a mix of anxiety and resolve. Thoughts of Ryan continued to weave in and out of her mind, demanding her attention. She recognized the importance of expressing her growth, but the fear of confrontation clawed at her confidence. As she readied herself for their conversation, she recalled Mia's advice to embrace vulnerability, to speak not only about her achievements, but also her struggles. What if Ryan couldn't grasp the depth of her journey? Would he dismiss her growth as a fleeting moment? Steeling herself, she acknowledged her need for this conversation to be more than a discussion. It had to be a declaration of her newfound identity. Brianna glanced at the clock, noting the impending hour of their meeting. With each tick, her heart raced, oscillating between excitement and dread. She breathed deeply, envisioning the woman she had begun to embody, decisive and articulate. This was an opportunity to establish boundaries, to set the tone for a healthier relationship dynamic. With the shadows stretching longer, Brianna finally decided to sit down and jot down her thoughts. Writing had always been a cathartic outlet for her, a way to unleash the chaos within. She poured her heart onto the page, articulating each point she wanted to address. Clarity began to emerge. She wanted a deeper connection, one that allowed for mutual respect and support. No longer content to water herself down, she pondered how to confront Ryan's assumptions about their roles and her evolving dreams. Suddenly, she felt a sense of urgency arise within her, an awareness that she needed to be not just an advocate for her own needs, but also a catalyst for change in their relationship. What adjustments would Ryan need to make to honor her transformation? Brianna resolved to remind him that growth was not only possible but necessary for both of them. Finally, the moment arrived. As Ryan stepped through the door, his eyes lit up with the comfortable familiarity she had always cherished. Yet Brianna sensed change in the air, almost palpable, as she prepared to reveal the woman emerging beneath the layers of old expectations. "Hey," she greeted, masking her nervousness with a smile. "I've been thinking a lot too." Ryan responded with a casual nod, yet she could see a flicker of curiosity in his gaze. They settled into their usual seats, but Brianna felt a shift in their dynamic. She was no longer just a passive contributor to their shared narrative. "Before we start, I want to say that I value our relationship," she began, her voice steady despite the tremor beneath. "But I also need to address something important." As the conversation unfolded, she felt momentarily adrift, navigating the complex currents of their shared past. She stated her dreams, her values, and the boundaries that would protect her newfound clarity. To her surprise, Ryan listened, truly listened. She found herself unearthing raw truths often buried under layers of doubt. The more she shared, the more she felt her own power, like an awakening. For the first time, words flowed without hesitation. However, as she crafted her sentences with intention, she noticed Ryan's expression begin to shift. The warmth in his eyes dimmed, replaced with confusion and concern. Her heart raced. Had she pushed too hard? Was he comprehending the depth of her transformation or retreating to the familiar walls of misunderstanding? "Brianna, I didn't realize you felt this way," he interjected carefully, his voice a mix of surprise and frustration. "This sounds drastic," the air charged with potential outcomes, stinging with the tension of their diverging paths. Her resolve took root, standing firm against the flood of fear creeping in. She was determined to maintain her stance, even if it meant navigating uncomfortable truths. "I'm not the same person I used to be, Ryan," she asserted, her voice unwavering. "And I need you to recognize that." As his silence stretched, their connection hung by a thread over an abyss of uncertainty. Brianna felt the breath caught in her throat, wondering if this would herald a new chapter of understanding or plunge them both into deeper turmoil. Would Ryan embrace this change, or would he resist it, retreating to a past that no longer suited either of them? The moment of truth loomed large, brimming with potential, ready to either forge a stronger bond or fracture it irrevocably. Brianna's pulse quickened as the silence thickened between them, each heartbeat marked by the gravity of her declaration. There was an almost palpable tension in the space where old familiarity and emerging independence collided. She watched Ryan's brow furrow as her words settled into his consciousness, uncertainty hanging heavily in the air. "Drastic? You really think this is drastic?" she echoed, trying to mask the defensiveness creeping into her tone. "It's just unexpected," he stammered, his voice wavering slightly. "I thought we were fine." The sting of his response struck Brianna, igniting a flicker of doubt in her resolve. Were they truly fine, or was she merely comfortable holding on to a version of their relationship that no longer resonated with her? She had been seeking solace in a false sense of security, avoiding the hard truths lurking beneath the surface. The realization both terrified and empowered her. "Nostalgia might feel comfortable, Ryan, but it doesn't equate to growth," she countered, composing her thoughts with fresh vigor. "We cannot continue with these outdated assumptions. I have changed in ways that impact us both." As she spoke, Brianna subconsciously straightened her posture, a physical manifestation of her newfound determination. This was no longer just about finding her voice. This was about constructing her identity with clarity. Ryan shifted in his seat, his body language betraying uncertainty, but Brianna chose not to falter. "What do you mean by changed?" His question was tentative, as if he were treading carefully across a fragile landscape. "I mean, I'm redefining what I want and who I want to be," she replied, summoning every ounce of certainty she had mustered. "I don't want to be the person who meets everyone else's expectations at the cost of my own dreams. This includes our relationship." Ryan's expression tightened, and Brianna could see the wheels turning in his mind. Would he resist her transformation, or call upon her to guide him along this path? "I don't understand why you feel you need to push me away to find yourself." He shook his head, frustration tinging his words. "Can't we work together on this?" His plea struck a chord of anguish, yet Brianna understood that partnership should not come at the expense of the self. "It's not about pushing you away. It's about pulling myself closer to who I need to be. It's about carving out space for me to flourish, Ryan." With each declaration, she felt a weight lift, inching away from the burden of unspoken fears that had long haunted her. Ryan's internal conflict mirrored her own battle. Perhaps he too was grappling with the implications of her growth. "What if I can't adapt?" His vulnerability shone through, and Brianna felt a pang of sympathy. The bond they shared was significant, yet she could not retreat to the comfort of their past dynamics. "Then maybe we need to redefine what we mean to each other," she suggested softly. A sense of urgency surged within her. She sensed this moment would dictate the future of their relationship. His silence was deafening, a chasm filled with both potential and peril. The tension morphed into a standoff, the air thick with the weight of unspoken fears and the possibility of new beginnings. Brianna's heart raced with the realization that this conversation held the potential to fracture or strengthen their alliance. Would Ryan step into this new chapter with her, one that could redefine their relationship's trajectory? Just as she felt certain they were at a crossroads, Ryan opened his mouth to speak, but the doorbell rang, disrupting the charged atmosphere. Both of them startled at the sound, but Brianna felt the call to action within her. She'd left a pivotal moment hanging, and she recognized that whatever awaited them on the other side of that door could alter her path irrevocably. With a steely resolve, she met his gaze one last time, silently communicating the importance of this juncture. The world outside stood ready to encroach upon their dialogue, and Brianna braced herself for whatever revelations lay ahead. As she moved toward the door, her heart raced, not with anxiety but with an exhilarating sense of determination. What awaited them on the other side could either shatter her hard-earned clarity or affirm the steps she had taken. She was ready to meet the unknown, Brianna hesitated for a moment, the hum of the doorbell reverberating through her thoughts. She caught Ryan's eye one last time, an unspoken awareness reflecting between them as she approached the door. The room pulsed with anticipation, a defined moment hanging in the balance. As she unlatched the door, her breath caught in her throat. Standing there was Maya, her closest friend, her expression a blend of surprise and concern. "Hey, I didn't know you were having a moment," she said, glancing past Brianna to Ryan, who remained seated, his uncertainty palpable. Brianna stepped back, inviting Maya in with a quick wave of her hand. She felt energy shift as the tension in the room fractured slightly with Maya's presence. Yet a familiar twist of disappointment nagged at her. This was not how she had envisioned confronting the choices ahead. "Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I had a feeling you could use a distraction," Maya chirped, oblivious to the gravity that had just filled the space. Brianna nodded, forcing herself to smile, but inside, she wrestled with her feelings. Maya's arrival offered a temporary reprieve, but it also meant veering away from the confrontation she truly needed. "So, what's up?" Maya continued, her bright demeanor unyielding as she plopped down next to Ryan. Brianna braced herself for the unexpected conversation surging to the forefront, but instead, Maya launched into a funny story about her chaotic day at work. Laughter erupted, yet Brianna found it hollow. A barrier between the life she wanted and the expectations of the relationships she held dear. With each joke and shared smile, Brianna replayed her earlier conversation with Ryan, the urgent need to redefine her parameters buzzing persistently in her mind. She was acutely aware that as the minutes passed, Ryan was perspective shifting as well. The written script of their lives was splintering and she could feel it in her bones. Maya's laughter trickled into silence as an unsettling cloud settled over Brianna, igniting her determination to reclaim the narrative. "Maya, can we talk for a second?" Brianna blurted, purpose radiating from her core. The momentary silence hung as everyone turned to her. "Of course, what's on your mind?" Maya responded, showing no signs of dwelling on the awkwardness of Brianna's abruptness. "I need to address something." She glanced at Ryan again, realizing they were at a critical juncture. "It's about change and choices." Maya looked intrigued but also a bit taken aback. "Are you sure? This sounds serious." "Yeah, it is." The intensity of Brianna's voice caught Ryan's attention, the playful mask of camaraderie slipping as they both recognized the stakes inherent in this conversation. "Let's step outside," Brianna proposed. Though surrounded by her closest friend, the enclosed space felt suffocating, trapping her within her apprehensions. The need to breathe freely, to declare her reality in a setting that mirrored her growth, washed over her. As they stepped onto the balcony, the warm air enveloped them. Brianna turned to face Maya, her pulse still quickening. She could feel the weight of expectations from both her friendships and the remnants of her relationship with Ryan weaving a complicated tapestry of obligation versus freedom. "Today I had a moment of clarity," Brianna began, her voice steady yet vulnerable. "I'm realizing more and more that I can't let fear or nostalgia dictate my future anymore. I need to find my own path, not just with Ryan but with everything in my life." Maya's brow furrowed in understanding, urging Brianna to lay everything bare. The undeniable truth of her evolving self strained against old constraints, and as Brianna spoke, she discovered hidden depths of confidence she never knew she possessed. "It scares me, but I know I have to embrace this change. I need to support myself to be authentic, and it feels like I'm on the brink of something greater." Hearing her own words confirmed in the clarity of the evening air, Brianna felt lighter, but another part of her remained anxious. What would this mean for her connections, especially with Ryan? Across the balcony, Ryan had stepped outside, leaning against the railing, listening intently to their exchange. The distance between them felt like a chasm, one growing deeper with every proclamation of Brianna's resolve. The confrontation was coming, and whatever it yielded could reshape both their lives forever. As a gust of wind rustled through the leaves, Brianna realized that she was standing at the beginning of a new identity, one that demanded courage and honesty. But just as she was ready to take the leap into that uncharted territory, a sudden thought struck her. Could embracing her own truth mean conceding to the loss of everything she once held dear? The sunset glowed, casting shadows on her uncertainty. She stole a glance at Ryan, who was now on the precipice of understanding her dilemma. Would he fight to keep her grounded or push as hard as she was now prepared to soar? The moment crystallized before her, a confrontation loomed ahead, and the resolution of her future began to materialize, a grueling journey fraught with difficult choices. And at that stormy intersection, she braced herself for the reality that awaited her just beyond the horizon. Brianna stood poised on a precipice, her personal transformation blooming like spring after a relentless winter. In the wake of the workshop and her conversation with Maya, she felt an undeniable certainty coursing through her veins. This was the moment she had worked towards, each lesson learned, every challenge faced, all culminating in the truth she was about to embrace. As she turned to Ryan, who leaned against the railing with a look of anticipation mixed with concern, she knew there was no turning back. The gravity of their shared past weighed heavily, but the future loomed bright, a canvas yearning for strokes of boldness and authenticity. "Ryan," she began, her voice unwavering, "I'm not the woman you used to know. The dreams I chased in the diner are no longer dreams. They're my reality now. I need to pursue this life with intent and passion." She felt empowered as she spoke, shaking off the remnants of insecurity that had haunted her for far too long. This wasn't simply about distancing herself from her past. It was about stepping boldly into her future without apology. "I understand you're grappling with my changes, but I need you to see this as an opportunity, not a threat. We can either hold on to what we know, or we can evolve together. I'm choosing growth." With each syllable, she felt herself solidify the foundation on which her dreams would be built. Ryan's expression was pained, and Brianna felt a pang of empathy. She'd once felt that fear too, of losing what they had, but now she realized that growth inherently involved uncomfortable adjustments. "I want to create something meaningful, Ryan. For myself, for us, if we're willing to adapt," she continued, her heart pounding with both courage and vulnerability. The silence between them draped heavily, but she sensed that Ryan was processing her words. Would he summon the strength to stand beside her or retreat into the familiarity of shared memories that no longer matched her trajectory? "I don't want to push you away, Brianna," he said finally, his voice soft yet earnest. "I just need time to wrap my head around all this. It feels different, and maybe I'm scared." His honesty resonated. She recognized the vulnerability in his admission. "Change is scary for both of us, Ryan, but it's necessary for growth. I'm not finished evolving yet, and I can't expect you to accept this without some discomfort. But I'm ready." Brianna could feel a shift. His shoulders seemed to relax slightly, the tension easing as he leaned into the possibility of reevaluating their relationship. She caught a glimpse of hope igniting in his eyes, an acknowledgement that their paths needn't separate but could intertwine in new, enriching ways. "If that's what you're committing to," he said, "then I'll have to commit to my own growth as well. I want to understand your journey, even if it frightens me." Her heart soared, fueled by an inexplicable joy cascading within her. They stood on the edge of a new chapter, one rooted in mutual respect, support, and a burning desire to embrace the evolution of both identities intertwined. "Together," she confirmed, holding his gaze with unwavering belief. "We'll navigate this life together, but only if we're both openly committed to the adventure. There'll be uncomfortable moments, but also exhilarating victories. This conversation is just the beginning." As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the evening sky with hues of orange and pink, Brianna breathed in deeply, her spirit invigorated by newfound clarity. The night felt transformative, echoing with possibility, and forging her ambitions into tangible aspirations. Ryan took a step closer, bridging the physical and emotional distance between them. "Let's do this. I'll meet you halfway, Brianna. I want to be part of not just who you were, but who you're becoming." In that moment, Brianna acknowledged not just her victory in personal growth, but the recognition that relationships too could thrive. evolve without losing their essence. It illuminated her heart with a sense of fulfillment previously unattainable. The road ahead would not be devoid of bumps, yet she felt an exhilarating commitment to courageously traverse it. This was more than a resolution. This was an evolution, a testament to resilience and the unwavering belief that individual dreams, as vast as they may seem, could forge paths that uplifted not just oneself, but those intertwined in life's journey. Over the weeks ahead, she would embrace opportunities for further development, continue building a vibrant community, and pursue her goals fearlessly. And as she stood next to Ryan, she realized that together they could build a relationship that thrived on transformation rather than conformity. Through this bond, the trajectory of both their lives could expand. Brianna had not just won a battle against self-doubt. She had established a new paradigm, one rooted not in restrictive expectations, but in shared dreams and transformative growth. Now, with sturdy resolve and a heart full of ambition, she embraced the future with confidence, a reflection of her journey and a declaration of her commitment that boldly proclaimed she was ready to own her story. If this story resonated with you and your journey, don't hesitate. You need to subscribe now for more transformative tales. Leave a like, show your support, and let the algorithm help others find their path too. Comment below your thoughts, reactions, and share your own experiences of personal growth. And don't wait even one more second to share this powerful message with at least 5 friends who need to be inspired.